Okay, so today's question is 2016, question C2, hyperbolic paraboloid, ordinary level. So a relatively simple one, a few simple things just to be aware of. We're asked to draw the given plan and elevation, and we're asked to do an end view. So we're going to need some space over this side for an end view. We're going to start off with the plan to figure out things because we only have some of the width. We have the 70mm line here at the bottom, so we're actually going to start from the bottom and work up. Okay, so I'm going to zoom this out here a little bit. So we will draw a 70mm line. So we'll start off like so. So I'll use my light colours just to level it out. So I'll draw a line here, and we're going to mark a distance of 70mm. Okay, so it's actually relatively small. Okay, so we need our 45-degree set square. We have to come up to the left and up to the right. Okay, so what we're told basically is when we go up to 80mm on the left hand side, that gives us that point. So I've measured up 80mm. I'll just move that over a small bit. Measured up 80mm, drew a line across, and where they two intersect gives us the end of that point. And we're told that if we come up 35mm on this side, so measure up 35, draw a light line across, and that gives us the finishing point on that side. So that's the method in order to figure those out. And what I can do now is basically I can heavy in the outline. I have the base, my 70mm. Now, for any of you setting up that are starting off, I come in probably 100mm for that line, and that was enough. Anything less, and this is going to go off the edge of the base. So 100mm and then go over 70mm would be a good starting point. So we'll draw our outline of the plan ABCD. Okay, so we label our points. So we have A here, D here, B here, and C here. So I'm going to do the outline of the elevation now. So I'll leave a gap of maybe, I won't leave too much, 15mm. We'll draw a ground. Okay, so I'll start to project up all these points. C actually stays on the ground, B goes up in the air, A stays on the ground, and D goes up in the air. So D goes up 80mm, so we'll bring it up and mark that, and B goes up 50mm, so we mark that. So we have B, C, A, and D. So the key is whatever joined in plan must join in elevation. So A went to B in one view, so must go to same in this view. B goes to C, C went to D, and then D went back to A. So D must go back to A. Okay, so there's that. So we have our overall outline. Now there's two methods of which you could do this now. I would probably do the end view, and the reason I'd probably do the end view is just to make sure that I have it covered, and also I have no generators here that are going to cause confusion to me. So I'll draw a sort of common line here. I'll bring C is the only one that needs to come across to it, and I'll bring these up at 45 degrees. Okay, so this is the way I would typically do it, just to get everything in at the start, have a bit of every view done if I ran out of time, or sometimes people will forget to come back and do an end view because they'll forget to come back and read the question. So at least if I do it at the start, I have it completed and then it's done. So we have A, B, C, D there again. So again what we do, we need to find it for end view. So C is on this line and C is coming across here, so there's point C. D is on this line and D must be on this line, so that's where D and D correspond. A is on this line and A is here. And B is the one I forgot. So B is here and B is here. So it's an unusual shape, which is quite common and not unusual in the sense that an unusual shape would be common for these objects. So what you need to do is you need to use the indexing to figure it out, or essentially you won't get the answer. But if it starts to look unusual, that's typical for these questions. Okay, so that's basically my outline. So the plan, elevation, end view, but what I haven't done is drawn the generators. Now, if I look at the base here, 70, I would typically draw 5 generators, and in an ordinary level question, they're going to show you the number that they expect. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're counting the number of gaps rather than the number of lines. So 70 divides equally by 5. So I'm not going to do the division of line method for that. So that's 14, 28, 42, yeah, and 56. Okay, so an easy way to divide by 5 is knock off the 0. So if I had 70, so knock off the 0, that gives me 7, add it to itself, 7 and 7 is 14. So this here is a random measurement. So I'm going to use the divisional line method for doing this, and I might take a yellow or something light just to show this. So if you look at the solution online, you will see that they expected you to do this. Now, if you were stuck on the day of the exam, you could always just measure this and divide it down with your calculator. But we're going to show you this method so that hopefully you will get this. But the most important thing is that you have 5 equal marks there. They said if you took your calculator and divided it down, you'd lose a small bit for division of lines, but that would be it. So I'm going to mark 5 equal marks 10mm apart. So I'll join the last one then back to here. So using sliding set squares or my adjustable set square, I'll draw these back. So I'm going to use sliding set squares in this case, but an adjustable set square probably be more typical of what I'd use at leaving cert level because I have it. I should have it in my set. Okay. So what I've got there is basically 5 points. I should split that even. Okay, and I'll have to do the same on the other 2 sides. So again, the handiness of having this done first is that it's less likely that I'm going to get confused by this random line at a later stage. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I'll join this point back. And again, I'll use sliding sets. Okay. So there's my points on that side, and the last one is this side. So because this is such a long measurement, I might do every 20 apart. So with division of line, as long as you keep the same distance, so I'm going 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, as long as they're 5 equal distances that you take, it will split it into that number of equal parts. Okay. 10 would be fine, but it would be hard to get the level of accuracy that's required. So if what happens, like it did to me, that you didn't have space, so you had to move the set square, always go back and start from the first line, the initial line. It's the most accurate method. So we mark these. Okay, so I now have my 5 marks, and from looking at the question, I know that these ones go this way. I could also figure out an alternative way, but for the minute we won't worry about that. Okay, so these are coming up like so. So they're all random angles and the same here. Okay, so there we go. So I have my generators here, and what I'm going to do, the way I label them is I usually call them 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Now, some people would say that's not correct indexing, and they would be right, because they'd say, well, it should be 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. The reason I don't do that is because by doing this, I know 7 joins to 7. Sometimes if you're doing all the numbers around up, say, as far as 16 in this case, you may get confused whether 14 joins to 15 or 13 joins to 14. So by doing this method, I don't tend to get confused. But as I said, technically it's not the best method for indexing in most questions. So this is point 1. Now the reason I know that's point 1 is because 1 was on the line AB. So when I brought this up, 1 is on the line AB. So I have 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. Now what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm just going to show the end view. So they were on the line AB. So again, what I can do is I can bring these across. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So again, I brought them across before I used my generators. Now, some people will project them up from plan, which is perfectly fine, but I find that this method is better because I have less numbers of lines to bring across. I only have to bring them once across from here, whereas here I have to bring them over to this line, up at 45 degrees, and then straight up. And actually, in this case, for AB, because it's a vertical line, that method wouldn't have actually worked. So 5, 6, 7, and 8 is on the line AD. I'll start here. 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 5, 6, 7, and 8. And again, what I'll do is I'll do this. These are on the line AD. So 5, 6, 7. I'm just using my set square because my T-square is hitting off my Visualizer 8. So 5, or say 8, 7, 6, and 5. Okay. Okay. So then I'll do the same on the other side. So this is on the line BC. 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll bring them across. So they're on the line BC. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 8, 6, and 5. And then the last ones are the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the line CD. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would find by doing this method it's less likely that I'll get confused. Some people I prefer to get the elevation done and out of the way beforehand, but I would just find that this would be more likely to get your points accurate prior to drawing in the generators. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. The less lines I have in when I'm trying to find points, the better. So then it just becomes a matter of joining them up. So I know that 1 must go to 1. So even if it looks unusual, again, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to assume that I'm correct. 3 goes to 3, and 4 goes to 4. Now the big advantage, obviously, for the elevation is I have this here to check. So that looks like 4, 4. That looks correct. So I can always check that at that stage. 5 goes to 5. 6 goes to 6. 7 goes to 7. And 8 goes to 8. And one of the most critical things is that you just do spot the difference at the end. Sorry, I over as well. So when you look at the question, when you think you've a view done, you should look at the question and say, right, is there any difference here and here? So hopefully you can see what you'll notice is they've heavied in a line here, and also they've hidden detail here. So what I'm going to do is, I would be expected to sketch a curve, because a hyperbolic paraboloid will give a curved or give what looks like a curve. It'll actually be a series of straight lines. But I'm going to heavy that in there. Sorry, I went a little bit outside the line there. See a little bit, but I can't come back to this. Because it's a marker. And what I'll do is I'll take my Tipex. Ideally, if I had a Tipex pen, if you're doing these in pen, but my Tipex for the minute, and I'll just dab a few blobs on it just there. A little bit thick. But from that, you'll be able to see that there's hidden detail there. And then if I look at it, I have this perfect. Perfect. I have the plan view perfect. So all I have to do now is finish off the end view. So again, I'll go 1 went to 1, 2 goes to 2. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a question or a solution to check this against on the day of the exam, but I'm going to assume that I'm correct and continue on. So 7, 7, 5, and 5 happens to stay on the same line, and 6 and 6 we can't even see there. So again, what that's going to do is create some bit of a curve at the bottom. Okay, so where's my dark blue that I had? There we go. So again, I'm going to sketch in. It's going to give me some bit of a curve. So if I have to do it in one view, I'm going to assume I have to do it in another view. Now, the difficult bit is to figure out the hidden detail. So I wouldn't be overly worried about this for an ordinary level question. It's quite difficult to figure out. But if you imagine if you're standing on this side, the line between A and D is the one that's going to be at the back, the one that's furthest away. So where this is going to get in front of it, this bit here is going to be hidden detail. So again, I'll just get my Tipex and I'll just put some little blobs here. It might make it a little bit more obvious for some of you when you see it afterwards, but that's a minor concern. I would not be very worried about that. That's sort of difficult to visualize because of the unusual structure and because of it's hard to tell what's in front of each other. Okay, but that's the question done.